Hello, everyone, and welcome to our summer reading plans live show, our reading hopes and dreams. And I am just so delighted to be joined by three kindred spirits. So maybe quickly, I will let everyone introduce themselves. Christy, are you okay going first?
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Christy Lewis, and my channel is Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space. And I really like to read a variety. And yeah, you just have to ask me. Christy Lewis
Whew,
Dostoevsky in Space. And
that's okay.
we have the live show on my
I,
phone.
it's easy. Yeah, it's nice to have like a device to keep up with the comments on.
I like
Uh,
to be able to respond.
Yes, yes. No, that's great. And yeah, I think it's clear from your channel name, Dostoevsky in Space, you definitely do enjoy a variety. And then Anne.
Hi, I'm Anne, and you can find me most often at Paper Hearts Library. It's paper.hearts.library on Instagram. I also do have a Disney YouTube channel that I've had for about 8 years. I'm not as active over there. Sometimes I talk about books. So it's Princess Lessons if you want to check that out. But I am also like Christy. I love a lot of different things. I'm kind of like different ends of the spectrum. So I try to have a variety today. I'm excited to chat with everyone.
Yay. And then last but not least is Emma.
Hi, hello there, friends. It's Emma here, the Bookish Princess. That's my YouTube channel, Bookish Princess. I'm also over on Substack. I'm not all that active on Instagram these days, but yes, I'm so excited to be here. I feel like this is like the dream team because I love what all of you guys read. It always inspires me, and I feel like it's a similar quirky variety, classics and a sprinkle of other things. So I can't wait to hear everybody's reading plans.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. So welcome to everyone. I'll just briefly, Cami put this, Cami is was here at 7:45. She left this comment. So thank you, Cami. And it's nice to have you here. And then Art from Bookshelf Odyssey. Art, I wonder, are you reading any Dickens this summer? I mean, it's kind of always time for Dickens with Art. He is a devoted fan. And then hi to Elizabeth Brink. I am excited to hear Elizabeth's summer reading plans. Elizabeth and I are spurring each other on with our Victorian reading this year. And Elizabeth is trying to get to 28 Victorian books read this year, and I'm trying to get to 25. So it has been very fun keeping up with each other. And Penny is here. Hi to Penny. And then Melissa, and Melissa is also, she's on Instagram as a Duchess Inside and has such a beautiful aesthetic to her Instagram. And she has two cute new kitties, which is very fun. And then That Sort, welcome. Thank you for coming. And Is Mean, Matt Keen, Lauren, and hi, Sharon. And then several of us follow Allie on Instagram. We love Allie's art. It's beautiful. And then Joanna is here. Hi, Joanna. And Michael says he is participating in an Oliver Twist group read on Goodreads. Oliver Twist, I feel like, is just a really twisty turny kind of story, and it's one I feel like of the least popular Dickens, but I really enjoyed it. So plot twist there. And yes, okay, Art says he will definitely be reading some Dickens. And hi to Amy from Amy of Hearthridge. So many lovely people here. So we're going to kind of go back and forth, maybe taking turns sharing books that we're planning on reading. So I'm going to do my best, and then I think Christy's going to tag team writing down all the titles that are mentioned so that when you come back to this later on, you think, what was that book they mentioned? I'll try to put them in the descriptions. So it won't be up right away, but in the next couple days, putting that up there. So I guess I will open us up. Maybe we could share two at a time. And the first that is a big one, and I'm doing a group read, like just very casual on I have a Voxer group, but of The Betrothed by Alessandro Manzoni. And I think in the kind of cultural awareness of our generation, It's the story that Jo March bases her play on in the Winona Ryder Little Women.
Oh.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, yes, must read this. Well, what's funny is I had seen it referenced in several Victorian books. It's like they were all kind of nudging me to read it. And I'm wondering if there's going to be some plot element influences. Actually, Emma, I don't know if you remember, but it's mentioned a number of times in the Heir of Redcliffe.
Oh.
Yes. So I am excited. It sounds honestly very operatic. So it's an Italian classic from the 19th century. And I have some friends who will keep me accountable going through it. We're going to read it over June and July. So I'm hoping that by the time July rolls around, I won't totally be just all in Jane Austen mood, and I'll still be motivated to keep reading it. And then I want to read some Shakespeare this summer. So I got a little bit burnt out with the comedies. I do struggle when I'm reading. Shakespeare's very intense. And so kind of the juxtaposition of the comedic elements, then with the intensity of the misunderstandings and just all of the elements in the plot, it's very like emotionally overwhelming for me. It sounds very dramatic, but I would rather kind of go full on. It's something about the contrast between those two. And I'm going to go for King Lear and Hamlet and just full on intensity. So those are two that I've never read, and I don't actually really even know anything about King Lear, and I don't really think I know anything about Hamlet. So I'm excited to be surprised and caught off guard, and maybe watch a couple film adaptations. So yeah, have any of you? Emma, I think you've read King Lear and Hamlet.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I've been thinking of rereading those sometime soon. But yeah, I feel like those are two of the most classic. My mom has these beautiful Arden Shakespeares, which I just feel like they have impeccable notes. Like the notes, it's like the smartest scholars have done all the notes and like referenced everything in the lines. And so it's like it takes twice as long to read the play and read all of the notes. And most of them have a lot of notes, but like Hamlet, like say like A Midsummer Night's Dream is like this thin, and Hamlet is like this thick. Like it has the most notes of all the Ardens, it feels like. So, but yeah, you can't go wrong. Those are two of the most classic.
Okay.
I read Hamlet for my comparative literature class in grad school, and I even had to write a paper about it. So I think I'm a little sick of it, even though it was like a while ago. It's just like once you write a paper about something, even if you like it, it's kind of like, but I feel like I need to reread it again. It's just for fun, but I'm interested to see what you think. I found Hamlet a little whiny, but we'll see what you think.
Yes, I second that. Amelia just needed to whip him into shape. She needed to just take a harder line. And
I know. He's kind of emo.
He's so emo, and I fell in love with Hamlet in high school.
I love it. It's a perfect high school
Completely. It was.
That's funny because in high school for me, we read Romeo and Juliet.
Yes. We did Macbeth, and I was like really weirdly into Shakespeare. That was like the first classics I was into. I weirdly got into it when I was like 12 or 13 because there was a TV show talking about Midsummer Night's Dream, and I was like, fairies and like magic, what is this? Like I have to find out about it. So but yeah, I do love Shakespeare.
Oh, that's so fun. So fun. And then Matt says Lear and Hamlet are the good stuff. And then I would be very interested in seeing the David Tennant Hamlet stage film, if I can get my hands on that. And Melissa says to get out the tissues. So I do love a good cry. So hopefully it won't be the Thomas Hardy level of pain.
At least Hamlet. I haven't read King Lear, but Hamlet is very tragic.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
It's tragic, but I was kind of like, I think for me, like by the time it gets to the end, like there's been a lot of emo-ness happening that I'm kind of like, okay, close the book.
Goodbye.
It's really good, but still at the end, it's kind of like, okay, bye.
I'm thinking it's good. It's a play length and not a novel.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess Emma, would you like to share?
Yes, I was just going to say, I feel like I should jump in here next because you were just mentioning A Midsummer Night's Dream, which I'm probably not going to read this copy of it, but I had it out to share because my cousin got this for me and it like literally has the whole play.
Oh my
God. It is so, it was like the perfect Christmas gift. Oh, it has like a German name. I looked it up on eBay though, and they have like Pride and Prejudice and Anne of Green Gables. Now I kind of want to get like a whole bookshelf of miniature books.
Oh,
It's Miniature Book Verlag, like Leipzig. So it's anyway. So I could just put this in my purse. But A Midsummer Night's Dream is on my summer TBR. I reread Emma earlier this year, and Jane Austen, like she has that one line where Emma says that, oh, the course of love never did run smooth. I'm pretty sure that's from here. And Emma's like, oh, but it does at Hartfield right before everything goes all wrong. And I think there's a second reference to A Midsummer Night's Dream. I need to remind myself what it was, but I had never noticed it before, and it just made me think it'd be fun. I haven't reread this in a long time, and the last time I reread, it was Pride and Prejudice, and then I was rereading, oh my goodness, Much Ado About Nothing, the one with Beatrice and Benedict, and there were so many fun parallels between that. I kind of wonder if I'll find some fun parallels between this and Emma, because Jane Austen definitely knew her Shakespeare, but yeah, that's one of mine. And then I saw there were some mentions of P.G. Woodhouse in the comments, and he is on my list. I just always love to read him in the summer. He's just that dry British humor, just the perfect escape. This one is Carry On Jeeves, which is a collection of short stories. And the first one is Jeeves Takes Charge, which is where like Bertie and Jeeves, of course, the British gentleman and the manservant, they first meet for the first time. So it's been a while, and I think this should be a fun one to tackle this summer.
Oh, so fun. And yes, Breezy Ann says she's making her way through the Blandings series.
Oh, I can't go wrong with Blandings.
Yes. And then That's where it says she's been working her way through a reread and planning on reading Service with a Smile next, which is such a fabulous title.
I love it. I think that's Uncle Fred. There are so many great like little mini worlds within Woodhouse.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, Anne, would you like to share a couple?
Yes, I do have something that's Shakespeare adjacent. I was actually thinking about reading The Tempest. That's sort of like on my tentative list.
Ooh.
I have not read that one, but what I actually, one that intrigued me that sounds very summery is, I got to pull up my list because I don't actually have the book. It's Under the Dancing Star by Laura Wood, and it is a loose retelling of Much Ado About Nothing set in the 1930s in Italy during the summer. And I have heard that Laura Wood is a fantastic historical young adult author. A lot of people have recommended her to me. And I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that the main character is loosely based on Beatrice, and the main guy is loosely based on Benedict. And they had me at 1930s, like Italy. And I've heard that it's very atmospheric in the way that the author describes summer in Italy. So I'm there for that. And so I'm really excited about that one. And then another kind of romance one. This was one of my birthday books. I'm very excited to finally read, and I feel like it's one of those books, The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery. I know I'm gonna love it.
You've never read it before?
Never read it. I know you guys have both talked about it, at least Kate and Emma. I don't know if you've read it, Christy, but
I haven't yet.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. It's for anyone who doesn't know, it's about I think she's 29, unmarried girl who's kind of afraid to stand up for herself until she gets some maybe alarming health news and decides to try to find true happiness. It reminded me, at least from the description, a little bit of Emily of Deep Valley by Maud Hart Lovelace, at least in the sense of like going out and deciding to change their life. So I don't know if you guys know more about it than me.
Totally.
I'm such an Ellen Montgomery fan, and I love this edition, and I knew I wanted this for my birthday so much. So I'm like so excited to read it this summer because you can't go wrong with an Ellen Montgomery romance for summer, right?
Oh, yes. Oh.
Since we're talking about Ellen Montgomery, I just want to shout out right now that Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, among other people, like Chelsea from Voyage of a Time Wanderer and a couple other people, are doing Ellen Montgomery May right now.
Oh, so, nice. I think I saw that. Yeah, that sounds so awesome.
Yes.
So I did start listening to the audiobook of Jane of Lantern Hill with the boys, and I had forgotten it starts out kind of like the Blue Castle. Where it's just like really a bummer. So Peter says it's boring right now, but we have a long-ish drive tomorrow. So I'm hoping we'll just like get to kind of build some momentum in the story. Oh, and Allie says she loves A Sky Painted Gold by Laura Wood, fabulously set in the Gilded Era.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard all of her books are really good, but my library has this one and it's set in Italy, so I'm like, I have to read this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, very cool. Yes, some love for The Blue Castle in the comments.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be one of my favorite books, but I just can't believe I waited this long to read it.
It's meant for you. I really think it is. And then Joanna is interested in a retelling of Much Ado About Nothing. So very cool. Okay, so I guess I will do another 2 books. So one is a recommendation from Elizabeth Frink, who is in the chat. And it is called Above Suspicion by Helen McInnes. She is, I believe, a Scottish author. And it seems like it could be a Mary Stuart-ish espionage sort of story. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, I think it's about a married couple and then certain top secret things to do with the government. And Elizabeth, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I almost think it starts out of Oxford. And it just seems to have cozy domestic details in the midst of kind of twisty turny stories. So I love the sound of that. And I am very excited to give it a try because she wrote a fair number of espionage sort of novels. Oh yeah, so Amy read it and encouraged me to read it. I'll put this up here. So that's exciting. It starts in Oxford, so kind of that light academia or maybe dark, we'll see, vibes to it. And then now for something completely different, I want to try reading Jurassic Park. So I am not scared of dinosaurs. So this is a book I'm willing to subject myself to. It's funny because I did have a friend who is a grown man and was terrified of Jurassic Park. And I was like, you realize they're all extinct? And he's like, I don't care. It's terrifying. And last summer I read Jaws and I am scared of sharks, but I had so much fun reading it. So yes, Jess is here and Jess has gotten on the Michael Crichton train and she has made me convinced that I have to try Jurassic Park. So
well, it feels like such a summer blockbustery kind of vibe. So
yes.
It sounds great.
Yes. So
it pulls you along.
Amy loves Jurassic Park. So
oh my gosh, we got a lot of it. I love it.
Was not expecting the Jurassic Park enthusiasm. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's definitely sealed here. It's one of Jess's all-time favorite books.
Wow. Okay,
and
now
I know
now I want to add it to mine.
And the Venn diagram of mine and Jess's books, it's like we have like classics and then these very plot-driven books. And I haven't seen the movie in years, but I think I want to rewatch it. Because that's, like I said, it's very like safe kind of scary to me because I'm not worried about them. Yes. Okay. So those are my next 2. So I guess, Anne, 2 more from you.
Okay. Let me just grab what's on my pile. This I'm very, very excited about. It's called Irene Dunne, First Lady of Hollywood, and it's a biography about her. I don't know if you can see it, by one of my favorite film historians. And I'm so excited about this because she is one of my favorite classic actresses of all time. If you guys haven't seen her movies, definitely need to. There's some great screwball comedies with Cary Grant. And I think that there's just not a lot written about her. This is one of the few biographies about her because I've just heard that her life was kind of boring and there wasn't a lot of scandal, which is, she was this kind of like nice, sweet, classy Irish Catholic lady in Hollywood who didn't really do anything scandalous to talk about. But apparently this book talks a lot about her relationship. Well, not her like romantic relationship, but her just working relationship with Leo McCarey, who's one of my favorite directors. He directed her in The Awful Truth, which is really, really funny. And then also in Love Affair, which if anyone has seen An Affair to Remember, but has not seen the original, which is Love Affair, Affair to Remember with Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr, which is mentioned in Sleepless in Seattle. If you haven't seen the movie, you might know it from that. But if you haven't watched it, she actually was in the first version, and then Leo McCarey remade it in, I can't remember, like the late 40s or early 1950s with Deborah Kerr. So like I love her version of it. It's streaming free on Tubi right now. She's just kind of she's such an interesting actress because she was so good at drama and like making you cry. Like Love Affair at the end makes me cry, but like it's happy, sad. It's like a bittersweet if you know that story. Definitely worth watching. But then she's hilarious and can be as good with a physical comedy as maybe like a Lucille Ball or something like that when it comes to like My Favorite Wife or The Awful Truth. And I just think she's amazing. My mom even got me a signed picture of her for college graduation since I studied film. And like I've never read, like I know a little bit about her, and I've watched some commentaries on my Criterion Collection DVDs, but this is actually based on some real interviews with her, and I'm just really excited for this one. So I'm talking way too long about it because I could talk about film forever.
No, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And your that video you did recently about the Great Movie Ride is like totally at the top of my watch queue. I keep waiting for a time when I can just sit down and watch it because I bet it'll be fascinating.
I had so much fun with that. It was a video essay basically. So I took like all my old footage and was like did commentary on like the movies, some trivia about the ride. That was totally a passion project for me that I've been working on for several months, but it was fun.
So fun. Yeah, Melissa says that she loves Irene Dunn, from comedies like The Awful Truth to the drama of Penny Serenade. She was the best.
Yes, Melissa has great taste in movies. Everybody should listen to her for movie advice. She has really great taste. So for another one, this was I was supposed to read this for Victober, but it feels like it'll be good for summer. I can't figure out how to. Okay, here we go. It's Anthony Traub's Barchester Towers. I read The Warden last September and I loved it. I read Rachel Ray for Victober a couple of years ago, and I keep meaning to get more into him because I love that his sense of humor is very similar to Jane Austen. He really makes me laugh out loud in the way that like he sees people and the little clever remarks that he makes. So I'm just really excited about this one. I don't know much about it other than that it's a continuation. I know that there's some clerical battles. I'm sure there'll be some hilarity. It just feels like a light, I like light comedy. I like comedy all the time, but it sounds like perfect for summer. And I'm just really excited to dig into this. And I don't want to wait till October. So
treat yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and another Irene Dunn movie brought up I Remember Mama.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that one for a really long time.
I have never seen it. So I need to remedy this.
Yeah.
Well, Emma, would you like to share two more?
Yes. I'm trying. Okay, so I had a Victorian one too. And I was going to share it next, but I can't remember the name of it. So my mom has been on a Trollope kick, and then she went from Trollope to Thackeray. So now she's on a Thackeray kick. And she loves, here it is. It's called The Newcomes by Thackeray, which it was mentioned in another book that I recently read. On Molly Clavering, where the character is enjoying like lunch with the Newcomes just because she's eating while she's reading, and she's enjoying it so much. And then my mom and I read the same Kindle books, so she like will leave little notes, and she left a little note saying that she went on to read the Newcomes, and it was just as good as the character said. So I definitely think that'll be fun. Yeah, I feel like I should save some. I mean, there are lots of Thackeray's and Trollops, so I can do more for Victober, but it's fun to sprinkle in a little Victorian literature in the summer. And then I also have, this is a big hefty one. So my brother, I recently filmed some book collection videos with my brothers, and this was from his book collection, and he very kindly is letting me borrow it. It's Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, which surprisingly I've never read before. So I think it'll be really fun to check this out. And we were chatting about when we were unboxing his collection, and it just made me realize like I have been waiting on this too long. I need to get to Anna Karenina. So
that one definitely needs tissues, but it's so good. Oh, okay. Penny just asked, what were Christy's first two? Christy, I think did I skip you?
I didn't even notice. I'm like busy taking notes.
Okay, so Christy, tell us four.
Okay. All right. Let's start. I wanted to ask though, Anne, what was it? Was it by Laura Woods, Under a Dancing Star? Was that it?
Let me just look at my notes real quick because I'm going to get that one from the library. I have it written down. It is Under the Dancing Star by Laura Wood.
Perfect. Okay. Because I missed the title the first time around. So I was like Googling her name and like, which one did she say? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess I have mine down by month. So in June, it's going to be a huge month. And I think that's just because that's the next month. So I have more plans for next month. So there's Pilgrim's Progress.
Have you read it before?
I read some of it when I was a teenager.
Okay.
I have a bad history of like starting things and not finishing them.
I
But I'm
understand.
hoping that since I've read it once, it'll be easier the second time around and I'll just like enjoy it so much.
LibriVox has a really good free audiobook. I actually have been listening to it and I liked it so much that I just went on because it had like the part 2. Because I think they were published separately. It's like Pilgrim's Progress Part 2. Just what kept on going and went on pilgrimage again. So
yes,
that's a really good tip because that's accessible for everybody.
I know old classics. I feel like you can usually find a pretty good audiobook on LibriVox because like lots of people have read it, and so there's probably a pretty good narrator who did it.
And that's probably the one that takes off, you know, the one that's really good. Okay, so that's a really good tip. I'm reading this with Krista from Books and Jams, and we haven't announced it yet because we're just flying by the seat of our pants. But yeah, we're going to be reading that. It's like a book club partnership. We haven't even decided if it's going to be a Zoom or a live show discussion. So, but excited for that. And I'm also in a buddy read of Moby Dick, which I'm honestly loving, but I haven't touched it all month because I've been busy. So hopefully I can finish that in June. Yes.
How much do you have left?
I'm like 18 chapters in, so I have most of the book still.
But if you're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it so much. Like the narrator is so entertaining. He's just really his writing style is very engaging. It's like he's just taught, you know.
That's awesome.
Yes. It seems like that's the case with a lot of longer classics where it's actually pretty accessible, like with the writing style. Since it's so long, they just took the time to write it, you know, more leisurely, it feels like.
Yes.
Like sometimes they can take a while to get into, like as I'm always talking about Frances Burney and her 900-page novels. It can take a while, but then once you get into it, it can be really exciting. But yeah.
Yes.
I always feel like in high schools, they should not worry so much about giving teenagers really long books, because if the writing style is easy and it's like generally like genuinely exciting to read, they will get into it. Teenagers can read long things as long as they're interested, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And then I'm also going to be reading definitely Moreland Cottage by Elizabeth Gaskell. So that's a Kate House Patreon book club read. And it's been like months since I've been able to read one, but I'm determined in June because I want to read everything that Elizabeth Gaskell has ever written.
And in your defense as well, we kept having a runner-up in the polls, and I've been like, okay, we're just reading both of these. We'll read one in one month and the other in the other month. So we've had a lot more than we usually do. And Christy, you'll be very intrigued to know that George Eliot she was inspired to write The Mill on the Floss after reading The Moreland Cottage.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. But the ending of The Moreland Cottage is a lot more palatable than The Mill on the Floss.
Okay. That is really good to know.
Yes.
I didn't realize that she influenced George Eliot.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, George Eliot did not give out a lot of praise to other contemporary authors, but Gaskell was one that she did.
Understandable.
So funny the like sort of connections between all these authors. Like, didn't Gaskell write a biography of the Brontes?
Of Charlotte, yes.
Yeah, and then if you go back, like the Brontes were like crazy fangirls of, was it Thackeray? I think it was Thackeray. It's like they all had this.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a spoiler, so I won't say it fully, but basically, Charlotte dedicated Jane Eyre to Thackeray, and because of certain details in Thackeray's life, he thought she was making fun of his personal circumstances. And she was like, whoops, like I had no idea.
I just love you.
I know. Art imitating life, life imitating art. Which one is it? I don't know.
Oh no. Drama.
Book riots.
Yes.
Yes. And then your fourth title for this round.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's go with Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's going to be a heavy classics month. That may be too many classics for me in one month. But it's shorter, so. But this is for Tiffany's Patreon, which I'm really enjoying. I just joined it at the beginning of the year. So, and she does it every other month as well. So lots of short classics.
Yes.
Which helps me.
When you have so much you want to get to. I like Elizabeth put up a helpful list of her favorite standalone trollops.
Nice.
Yes. The Vicar of Bullhampton is up there for me.
I loved Rachel Ray. I thought that was charming.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's good. Yeah, I liked it.
And I already forget, with my Patreon, we're reading a trollop and it's a standalone, but it is none of those ones. But Elizabeth hasn't read it yet. That's why it's not on the list. Okay. I'm sure Elizabeth will end up on your list.
He wrote a lot. Like I read that he got up every morning super early before, was he a postmaster or something? And I think he wrote like every day, and like even I think it was like right to the minute. Like he stopped when he was supposed to stop. I wish, because I write too, and it's just like I can't write that regimented, and like get into it. I'm like, I need a second to get into this. So I'm very awe at how prolific he was and how organized too.
Yes. No, totally good. Just an amazing work ethic. This sounds interesting, Christy. It says there's this really cute book of an art illustration for each page of Moby Dick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be entertaining.
It definitely would. Oh, Amy is almost finished with The Grapes of Wrath. And then she's going to keep working on Moby Dick.
She's in our buddy read.
Oh, The Grapes of Wrath is hard times. That is really...
I just saw someone said Trollope is credited with inventing the drop-off post box. That's really cool.
Yes, I love it. Yes, Art has missed the last few book clubs, but Moreland Cottage is a must-read, so it's going to happen.
Yes, let's do it, Art.
It's weird to hear you say that Gaskell is a contemporary writer. Yeah, it is fun. It is so funny, like just how the passage of time.
Speaking of which, just a quick aside, I have to tell you guys, have you ever had something from Amazon where it says, like, do you want to follow this author? And it's like Anthony Trollope or somebody like that. And it's just like, and it's like, well, I would love it, but I don't think he's going to come back from the
I don't think he's going to be posting anything on Twitter.
Oh, hi, Rainy. She's here. Okay. Oh, this is tragic. Elizabeth liked the Belton estate, but didn't love it.
Aww.
So I will just have to wait and see what I think. Okay. My next two, the first is definitely going to be in July in honor of Jane Austen July. And I'm going to read, Emma, you inspired me, The Mysteries of Udolpho.
Oh.
I am excited. And I do also have access to the Naxos audiobook, which will kind of help me get through, because it's a long book. Am I right?
It's very, and I know I got through it partly by skipping. Like the descriptions are just so long, and like they're beautiful. But once you've read like 15 of them, you're ready to get. But yeah, like I feel like it was around about the 30% mark that it really, like, the action, like all the little clues started to fall into place, and it got really exciting, but it did take a while. So
I've DNF'd it 3 times. I've never, but I want to.
Yeah, I don't know. It was funny because like I started it I started it. When did I start it? In October, I think. And then I restarted it in February, and I just kind of picked up where I last left off. And I feel like that just somehow helped like jumpstart me. And then I was like, what's behind the black veil?
I love the permission to skip though, because I'm really bad at that. So that's good. That's a good thing. We just need to give ourselves permission to skip long passages.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Yeah, that's, actually, I have thought, I wish there were editions of certain classics that were released, like an edition of Les Mis with the 100 pages on the sewers as an appendices, like in the back.
That would be nice.
And, so like very long description of Parisian sewers. Oh, okay. All right. I'll skip to that. Or I just won't read it, and it's okay. Okay, yes. So, Amy, I will let you know what I think of it. This is so funny. I like the nature parts more than the story.
The nature parts were beautiful. It's just, there's so many of them.
There are so many. That's so funny. Okay, and then I am really enjoying realistic fiction this year. And so I had so much fun with several historical fiction books during middle grade March. So I loved Crispin by Avi. So I would love to read, this is kind of cheating because this is a few here, but a few by Avi. The second Crispin book. So I think it's 12th century England, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's going to pick up exactly where it left off. Somebody is out to get Crispin, basically the whole first book, and his life is on the line. And so it's just this really crazy breakneck speed adventure. And it was like a children's thriller, which was kind of the first of that kind that I had read. So I would like that, but I'm also in a big American history kick. And so I know there's one called Gold Rush Girl, that the title kind of speaks for itself. And then one also set during the American Revolution, just called, I think it's Loyalty is the name of it. And he is a spy for the British Army, but then kind of he starts to think, oh, maybe am I totally aligned with the British, or am I aligned with the colonists? So it sounds really interesting. So yeah, I would love to have some quality kind of children's historical fiction. And I just was very impressed with Avi's writing. Breezy Ann Reed says she's planning to read Sense and Sensibility in July, and a coworker recommended Pride and Prejudice fiction that I want to find, but she forgot the title, so I'll have to dig a little. I hope you find the title, because the Pride and Prejudice fictions, like fan fictions, abound. This is interesting. There is a version of Les Mis like that. Pixie Hallow just did a reel about it. Okay, I need to find this out. Okay, I will say it is, thousands upon thousands of lives were saved by good sewer systems. So it is amazing. I don't want to demean it, but I just don't necessarily want to read 100 pages about it in a novel. Okay, they're innovative sewer systems. So I guess, Anne, would you like to share the next two?
Sure, I'm gonna look at my list. I really love, when it's done well, young adult romance, like contemporary romance, especially summer books. I'm a big fan of Sarah Jessen, because she's an MFA in creative writing, so the writing can be kind of literary and really good, but also just kind of like quirky and fun and romantic and cute. But she hasn't come out with a book since 2019, so I was trying to look and see if I could figure out something that just feels like a sweet, innocent teen romance, but with a summer vacation setting. And I found one that I think is going to be the best contender, and it's called Float by Kate Marchant. And it is about a girl whose parents are professors in Alaska. So she's from Alaska. And she's not really a warm weather kind of person, and she doesn't like water. So, of course, she's going to be spending the summer with family in Florida. And it sounds like she meets like a lifeguard who lived next door, like a cute boy lifeguard. And she makes a lot of friends. He introduces her to his friends and teaches her how to surf. And she kind of overcomes her fear of water. I'm sure it's just going to be like very light and cute. But I'm a sucker for anything with surfing. I love Gidget with Sandra Dee, the 1959 movie. That's my favorite summer classic movie because it's just so cheesy and cute.
Don't get me started about Gidget. And I still have the hugest crush on Moondoggie.
Same. So I don't know if this will be like that, but I did a lot of research. And like I said, it's kind of like the quality of YA contemporary hasn't been as good recently for me. If anyone's a Sarah Dessen fan, like she's been around since the late 90s and she's just like so good. And she's just has kind of had like writer's block for a few years, I guess, since the pandemic. But anyway, so I'm like, I need a Sarah Dessen book so I can always reread that if this isn't good. But I'm just hopeful this will be like a cute surfer, Moondoggie and Gidget kind of story.
Yes. Oh, it sounds super fun. I hope it delivers.
And then another fun one, which I think Emma has read these, which is, I kind of count them as one, but the Nenea books. Have you read these, Emma?
Yes. Or just the first one. But I have the second one. They're so, or the first one was really sweet.
Yeah, I love American Girl. And so I have been kind of making my way through the historical books that I haven't read. Like either from childhood or they came out later, which these came out later. And I read the Rebecca books last summer and I love those. And I read the Julie books for Middle Grade March. So these are set in Hawaii. So obviously perfect for summer. And they are set during World War II and around like the Pearl Harbor time period. I guess I haven't read them yet, but my grandfather was actually stationed in Hawaii for part of World War II before he went to the Philippines. So I'm like, that's kind of cool because we have pictures of him in Hawaii during that period. And American Girl is so good at like doing their research for historical stuff, but yet it's like cozy. So I feel like even though it'll be sad that they're tackling Pearl Harbor, it'll also be cozy sad, or at least not too bad. So I don't know, just with that family connection and the Hawaii thing. So it just seemed like the perfect time to read these.
Well, that makes me think of something being cozy sad is when Hitler stole Pink Rabbit, because it's that whole era seen through the eyes of a child and the family just really becoming really close and tight knit and knowing that's what matters most are the people that you love and care about. So I totally know what you mean.
American Girl doesn't shy away from like the scary, especially the older ones. Like they don't shy away from like serious history, but it's cozy at the same time.
Yes. Well, and I did get from the library, because for Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, her summer book bingo, which I love the open-endedness of it. So it was one that I had so much fun last year doing, but summer camp is a prompt. And so I had heard about the Molly summer camp story. And so I did get the Molly bind up. I've never read the Molly books, and I know she's a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
Or favorite.
I think that's my favorite, but Molly's like some of her books are among my favorites. They're just so quirky. She has a very like Anne of Green Gables meets Joe March sort of personality. Do you think, Emma?
I haven't read the Molly books, surprisingly. I need to get on that. I love Kit. I feel like she has like the most spunk and like.
I haven't read those. Those are on my list.
Those were the only ones I read as a kid, Emma, was Kit's.
I read.
Because I think she's on the railroad track or something in the picture.
She's like jumping a train.
Nice.
I was like, this is my kind of girl.
I think I'm like a few years older than both of you because Kit, I was like a teenager by the time Kit came out. But my grandmother was always she loved when Kit came out because I think Kit was born the same year as her.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes. Yeah. But I really like the Josefina books. Those are the ones and I'm pretty sure I read Samantha. So I'm excited to try out Molly.
Molly's fun. She always gets herself in crazy situations, kind of like Anne Shirley. So it's cute.
Perfect. And Amy is wanting to read this in July. I just have to bring this back in. I started this last July and I did not finish it only because I get like really hyper with projects and I burned out. I watched so many Jane Austen adaptations. This is so good. And I am definitely picking it back up. I don't know why I didn't finish it. It's not quite squeaky clean. Like there are illusions of things. So it definitely doesn't feel like Austen, but it's nothing crazy, nothing like explicit. So
they have that one on Kindle Unlimited. I was able to extend my trial of Kindle Unlimited for $1.99. FYI, if someone gets that with their Kindle, if you cancel it right now, at least right now, it says, do you want to have 3 more months for $1.99? So I was like, yes, I do. So, and that is on Kindle Unlimited right now.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I just thought I might even restart it. Like that's how much I enjoyed the writing.
I want to check that out too.
Yeah, but I was also trying to read on my phone last year. Now that I have a Kindle.
Yay.
Oh, there's so many good comments. I don't know where to. Let's see. I have yet to read Sense and Sensibility or Emma, so I'm doing those for Jane Austen July. I have only seen the adaptations. I hope you thoroughly enjoy both of them. Oh yes, and Amy's on a book buying ban, so she's crossing her finger for birthday books in June. They better deliver. They better, or birthday money, right? Oh yes, love for the Molly summer camp story, and so fun. And oh, I want to read Kit because of all my Great Depression Dust Bowl reading currently.
Oh.
We need cozy Dust Bowl fiction.
Pairs well with the Grapes of Wrath.
Oh, this is so great. Rainey says, I'm older than all y'all, and I never even knew about Kit until my coworker started getting the catalogs in my office for his daughter.
Oh, I like Esmita gave a shout out to Felicity. I was thinking of Felicity too, because it's like Kit jumps on a plane, but Felicity, I'm pretty sure, sneaks into a British camp and like steals the gunpowder. Oh, I need to read that, obviously.
The Revolution. I kind of want to reread those around the 4th of July. I was going to do it last year and then I didn't. But I love the Felicity books too.
Yeah. I love Kaya too. I feel like I need to reread those. They're really good. When I read Nenea, it had been a while since I'd previously read an American Girl book, and I was kind of surprised. It's like they put a book during Pearl Harbor. Like, isn't that going to be too heavy? But like, it wasn't. Like you say, they like focus on family and like it is scary, and like they're they go cover the history, but like there are also lots of moments of hope and happiness and like just normalcy. So.
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited to read it.
Amy, grapes with a side of Kit.
That's the way.
Oh yeah. She alerts the town about the stolen gunpowder. Yes. Wow.
They also did. American Girl also had a book about Williamsburg. It's like the history of Williamsburg. And it was done by Valerie Tripp, and I had it, and I like kind of forgot about it, and I found it recently. But that's like a whole like history book. That's kind of thin, but it's a cute book.
That's so cool. And yeah, so then she said, which actually happened in Williamsburg, and it was an amazing addition to include it in her stories to make them more real. Wow. Very cool. That is
cool.
All right. So are we to Emma's next two, I think?
Sure. So two of mine. So I have a book club I do with subscribers. And so these are both for my book club. The first one is for June, and it's Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather. I haven't read this one before, and I feel like, I heard Christy did a great review of it. I watched your review video, and I was like, okay, I need to read this. Like, I can't wait. But I feel like I've been a little bit spotty with Willa Cather because the first one I ever read was, it's called Shadows on the Rock, and it's set in like Quebec, like when it was first founded. And it's just got this magical kind of like, I'm not sure if it is it might not be children's, but it might be teen. The main character is a little girl, and it just has this really lovely sort of flavor to it. And then next I read Oh Pioneers, which was just quite a different flavor.
Kind of tragic.
And then the last summer I read A Lost Lady, which I thought was very interesting. Again, very different. So I feel like I don't know quite what to expect from Death Comes for the Archbishop, but I have a feeling I'm going to like it. And then in August, we're going to be reading Joan of Arc by Mark Twain. I'm really excited for this because have you heard of this, Christy, or have you read it?
Yeah. No, but I'm joining you because I saw in your email.
Because it's so unexpected. Apparently, Mark Twain absolutely loved Joan of Arc. He spent like 10 years researching her. He wasn't even like religious or a Christian or anything, but he just had this absolute fascination and reverence for Joan of Arc. And so he wrote this book. He said he thought it was like the best book he'd ever written. And it just seems such a departure for him. It's a pretty long one. But I feel like I'm going to start it early, and I'm just really excited to see what it's about. I don't even know much about Joan of Arc's life, so I feel like it'll be fascinating just to see what Mark Twain does with it, but also fascinating to learn more about the saint. So,
very cool. Yeah, I had no idea he had written a book about her. Amy says that they own that Mark Twain, and it's beautifully written.
Yay.
Very cool. Oh, and yes, thank you, Joanna. Shout out to Out of the Dust. That is a beautiful book. It's a free book written in free verse set during the Dust Bowl. I think it won the Newbery. Yeah, you said she put it in the comment. Newbery Medal book. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. That sort talked about the Song of the Lark. It was such a weird reading experience because I almost feel like it had thirds, and the first third I was bored, absolutely enamored with the second third, and then the last part was not that enamored with. So it was a very unusual reading experience, but it has one of the coolest, most memorable scenes in literature. It's actually referenced in This Beautiful Truth by Sarah Clarkson. And I did love O Pioneers, I have to say. Like I do sometimes
I did like it. It just wasn't what I was expecting based on
a little bit blindsided. Oh, this is cool. Anne Girl, which is such a great name, says she read the Joan of Arc book by Mark Twain as part of our history and homeschool, and we really enjoyed it. Very cool.
Hi.
Yes. Okay, Christy, what are your next two?
Okay, well, I might as well mention Joan of Arc here by Mark Twain because I love Emma's book club so much, and I highly recommend joining it if you haven't. Email her. So I'm super excited for that. And I have to tell this brief story, and then we can move on if we want because it's a story. But last year I did an event called Faustathon with Rainey and a couple other people, and so we were talking about sort of reviving the idea of Faustathon, but making it more general, just about legends, reading legends, and legend retellings. And when I saw that Emma was reading the Joan of Arc book for August, I said, okay, we're going to hold our Legends readathon in August so that I can read Joan of Arc and then read a biography or I just don't know much about her, but I want to. So she's going to be the legend that I am exploring for this Legends readathon. So thank you for the inspiration, Emma.
Very cool. Oh, yes. So you're doing two more titles.
Two more. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be in August. And in July with Naomi and Victoria and Janelle from Too Fond of Books, we are going to be hosting a readathon of Bleak House by Charles Dickens.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited to finally sit down and read a Dickens because it's been years since I didn't just listen to one, but I actually sat down and read the words on the page. Because I think that's what I enjoy most about Dickens is actually reading the words on the page. So.
And is this the one that you've read before, or will this be your first time?
Never.
Oh,
never have.
Wow. I really enjoyed it. Particularly the Esther plotline.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yes.
All right. I will do two more. So the first is Journey to the River Sea by Eva Ibbotson. And this is definitely influenced by, I'm pretty sure Elizabeth Brink, you have read it, but I definitely know that Amy has read it.
It's on my list too.
It's on your list too? Well, maybe we will have to buddy read it. And then that way we'll make it actually happen. Yeah, it's just seems perfect for summer. The escapist kind of traveling journey story, and cozy, and yeah, it just seems wonderful. And so Melissa says she wants to read some Eva Ibbotson romances, or I showed the wrong one. And I've just called it quits with Eva Ibbotson romances, and people say, oh no, have you tried this one? Have you tried this one? I've tried like 4 different ones, and it's just, I can't be bothered to try more. But I read The Worst Witch, or no, Not Just a Witch by Eva Ibbotson, and loved it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to branch out to like her other kinds of fiction. So I'm hoping Journey to the River Sea is fun. But I do know people that love her romances love them. So Melissa, I hope that you enjoy some Eva Ibbotson romances this summer. And then the next one is I found on there's a homeschool curriculum called Sunlight, and they are literature based. And so I've been scouring their book list for early American history picks for like next year to have good quality chapter books for Peter to read. But this is not at all that era, but it's called A Murder for Her Majesty. And girl's father is murdered in Elizabethan England. And I'm pretty sure her life is in danger too. So she disguises herself as a choir boy for the local cathedral choir and is in like incognito in the boys' choir. So I am really intrigued. And so A Murder for Her Majesty seems like it could be a fun kind of adventurous summertime story.
This is by Beth Hillgardner.
That sounds right. I didn't have the author's name, but
Okay.
as if it's a middle grade book, then I think that's it.
Okay.
So Anne, would you like to share two more?
Yes, I am kind of thinking a little bit about Jane Austen July. So I don't know if I'll get to both of these. I know I'll read something Jane Austen, but just I'm such a mood reader. Whatever strikes my mood, I'm sure I'll pick up. But there's usually a prompt for like something from like inspired by Jane Austen or like a retelling. I don't always like the retellings, but I really did like the other Bennett sister. And then I've heard really good things about another one called What Kitty Did Next by Carrie Kableen, I think. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But it was, I think Katie from Books and Things mentioned this one. And then Carolyn from Carolyn's Reading Ramblings mentioned this one also. And it's about Kitty Bennett. And it's like a year after Pride and Prejudice. And I think it kind of follows how she kind of grows and outside of Lydia's influence and finds love. But I've heard it really focuses on how she grows as a person too. So it sounds fun. I don't know what I'll think because I can be very picky about Jane Austen like sequels or retelling. But I think it sounds a lot of fun. At least that's one that I want to try. And then another one that I think sounds really interesting that I've been talking about for Jane Austen July for a couple of years, or just in general reading, but I just never seem to get around to it. But they have it in my library for Kindle for the e-library. So I think I'll do it that way. But it's called Dangerous Alliance and Ostentatious Romance. And it's by Jenica Cohen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but it is more of a Jane Austen inspired read. I think it's I don't know if it borders on YA, but it's some sort of Regency, like romance meets mystery, I guess. And I'm not sure how old the main character is. Maybe she's 17 or 18. But instead of it being a retelling, she's actually someone from that time period, maybe like 1818 or 1819, like shortly after some of Jane Austen's novels are being published. And she's a big Jane Austen fan. So it's more that it's about a character who reads Jane Austen as sort of a guide to life. And so I think that sounds kind of fun. You've seen those kind of like chick lit kind of books where people are, obsessed with Jane Austen, like Austenland or something. But I thought this was interesting because it's actually someone from the Regency who's really into Jane Austen. And apparently something happens where she has to save her estate, as you do. And got to marry someone. And so she's going to use Jane Austen as a guide to find real love. But there's also some kind of mystery, I guess, involved with it. So, so I don't know. That's all I know about it. But the vibe just kind of sounds fun. And it sounds like a good Jane Austen July one. So we'll see.
Very fun. That sounds so unique, like very different than a lot that you hear about.
Yeah, it does. And the fact that it's supposedly kind of a mystery too. So I've heard that it's just really kind of exciting and fast paced and just like a quick fun read. So we'll see.
Very cool. I hope you enjoy it. All righty, Emma, you're next too.
I feel like I have like so many more now. As we're talking, I was like, wait, I was gonna say that one, not this one. So first of all, I was seeing some Laura Ingalls Wilder appreciation in the chat, and just had to say, yes, Farmer Boy is amazing, and everything in Farmer Boy is delicious. All the food. I was going to so I'm doing a reread of the Little House on the Prairie series this year, and I'm up to the Long Winter. And I can't decide if I should wait for winter to read it, or if it would be too depressing to read it in winter. So I just read it in summer. So I didn't put it on my summer TBR, but it's definitely a possibility that it might sneak in. But yeah, Journey to the River Sea, I did put on my TBR. I do quite like her romances, although I also I don't read anything even remotely explicit, and I wouldn't describe them as explicit, but still they're a little bit the morals of some of the characters aren't quite what you want. So I feel a little I don't enjoy this as much as I could. So I feel like her children's books are a little bit better, because then you don't even go into that territory. But A Company of Swans was the one that I read, and it was a similar setting, South America, and I think they journeyed down the Amazon to the city of Manaus. Is it? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but just that in that book, the adult book, they also referred to the Amazon as the river sea, and it just sounded so beautiful that I thought, okay, I want to read more of these descriptions. And then the other book, so when you were discussing Jane Austen July, I was remembering that I read The Absentee by Mariah Edgeworth during Regency, which is really fun. I think you recommended this, Anne. And I found this on eBay, and I thought, oh, I was really enjoying The Absentee, so I was I'm just going to buy it. And it has Vivian, which I've never heard of.
Either. I'm really curious to hear what you think of it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that would be a fun Jane Austen July to read. One of Austen's favorite authors, because I definitely want to get to the other. It has such great frontispieces.
I love that.
1893, so not quite Jane Austen's.
Oh, that's
a little after, but still.
I've only read Belinda and The Absentee by her, but I'm really curious to hear what you think of that one. I want to know what else is good by her, but I'm just I'm not really sure. Those are the two I feel like most people read.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of nonfiction, which I'd kind of like to jump into. I'm just not sure what the best collection is. But yeah, Castle Rackrent was her first novel, but it's so different in style because it's written from the perspective of the Irish steward, in his patois, in his the way he speaks. So it's you don't get her voice, which her voice is so beautiful. So
yeah.
And Krista from Books and Jams is here. Hi, Krista.
Hi, Krista.
Hi.
I want to look up that cover. When I saw that comment, I was I need to see that cover.
Yes. And Melissa votes that you read The Long Winter when you can go out in the warm sunshine.
To warm
up. This is fun. So Amy of Hearthridge recommended a fan fiction called Pudge and Prejudice. And she said it was surprisingly deeper than I thought. And so Morgan has a Christian romance podcast called Redeeming Lit. And it's so fun. So they have that one on the roster for the podcast. Wow. So I need to read along for that review episode. Very, very fun. Okay, Christy, your next two.
All right. So this is definitely expanding my TBR. Thanks, guys.
This is counterproductive what we're doing.
So in July, I will also be co-hosting a readathon called K-Tropathon. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm putting so much energy into this.
Oh.
It's been a while since I put all of my focus on one thing for a while, but so our group pick is going to be Once Upon a K-Prom by Kat Cho, which is kind of billed as a K-pop romance. So
perfect.
Excited to try that. And what else? I also, Joanna, am hoping to read, hopefully we can start this summer, the memoirs of Lady Haegyong, which I know Emma has read. And I think
kind of heavy, but it's really fascinating and really good.
Oh, yay. Okay. Well, I'm very excited to try that. Hopefully
Very
for
The
cool.
second part especially, it's like multiple kind of like letters, almost like accounts of her life. And I feel like in like the first one, she like kind of toned things down, but like then in the future ones, she just really like
Came
tells
out
it
with
like
it.
it is. And yeah, so it's definitely heavy, but so fascinating.
Very cool. Oh, Krista says she's been working on a puzzle during the show. Maybe that's a way to avoid growing your TBR is like, oh, I can't add it on Goodreads. I'm working on a puzzle.
Now I'm like rethinking like everything that I've said because I'm just like I want to read all the books you guys have mentioned too.
Oh. Well, it's so funny because I had us limit our list to 10 books, which when you're thinking about a summer, 10 does not sound like a lot. But for all of us to talk about the 10 books, this has been a marathon. So we're all closing in my last two. Thank you, everyone, for being so fun in the chats. And I'm glad I saw Joanna spell that because I'm going to put it in the description later.
Yay!
I'm going to type this out before I forget. Very cool.
You can join us and read it with us if you want.
I might do. What month are you reading it?
We haven't decided, but I'm hoping for July.
Okay. All right. Okay, so my last two. The first, another big chunky one, and this is, I have ordered it from the library, so it's going to be an earlier summer one, is Ben-Hur, which is, definitely referenced in Anne of Green Gables. And I grew up watching the movie, and I really loved the movie. I think it's Charlton Heston, I'm pretty sure. And it just seems like it could be really fun. What's interesting is Lew Wallace is the author, and his granddaughter recently came out with a retelling of Ben-Hur written in kind of modern language. But I'm like, I'd like to try the original. I don't know if I absolutely love the story. I could come back. And then my American history kick continues. So I'm over halfway through the Ron Chernow biography of George Washington, and it is so great. Just really interesting. And
that is an amazing book.
It's so good. Like it's narrative history, So I'm like, okay, this is a genre I can get happy in. I want to do a project of reading a biography of every president, which the more recent in history it gets, the less interested I am, because I feel like it's just when you have time outside of a time period, you can kind of get a bigger scope of what it was like. But it will take me so long to make my way through this project. So John Adams by David McCullough is the one I hear anybody who likes biographies, like this is one that they really enjoy. And yes, Melissa, I cannot claim this idea for my own. It is my sister-in-law's sister. She's a history teacher. And when I heard that, it was like,
I love that idea.
Isn't that fun? It just gives you, I'm like, I'll have such a better idea of just history in general, kind of after that, obviously, specifically American history. But there are world events, that we took part in or that affected us. It will be interesting. And so Amy says that her daughter loved Ben-Hur. I haven't attempted it. And then Breezy-Ann has a copy on her shelf, but she's never attempted it. And Art, I get a vote of confidence from Art on the John Adams biography by McCullough. And I have to say, I think I'll go back and forth between Kindle book and audio, but the audio is narrated by, oh goodness, he's Richard Gilmore on Gilmore Girls, but the actor, Edward somebody. I'm drawing a blank. The point is, I'm excited about that. So I guess, Anne, your last two.
Okay. Well, right now I have been finishing up the Lunar Chronicles, which I absolutely love and it is so much fun. And I want something else like that. So if anyone has any recommendations, please let me know. But I found something that could not really similar, but maybe like a similar feeling. It's not the fairy tale retelling. For anyone who doesn't know, Lunar Chronicles, I would describe it as like once upon a time fairy tale retelling meets Star Wars. and it's just like a lot of fun. But anyway, there's one called Fable by Adrian Young, and it's a duology. It's pirate themed, and it comes highly recommended from a friend of mine on Disney Instagram. Her name's Renee from Once Upon a Magical Adventure, and also I saw it on Darling Desi's vlog. But I thought pirate adventure sounds very summery. It's about a girl named Fable in this kind of fantasy pirate world, and I don't know much beyond that. My friend said that it had a similar vibe to Pirates of the Caribbean, so just like adventure and maybe some romance and some action. So we'll see. I'm hopeful that it has like what I'm looking for, but I'm very much in like a summer blockbuster like series kind of adventure series kind of vibe. So if anyone has recommendations, let me know.
Very cool.
And then my last one, I have so many, but I have to mention this one because it's so unique. Well, first of all, let me back up because I have a funny story. Because I think on something else that you and I did, Kate, I mentioned a book that I found called The Pink Hotel, and you were reading The Pink Motel.
Yes.
I did not look up this book at all. I thought it just looked really like a cute night. It's from the 1950s. I'm like, oh, this will be so cute and sweet. I looked it up. It has 1 and 2 star ratings, and it sounds like the content is not that great.
Oh, no.
I really want to read. So I was just like, guess I'm not going to read that. It's a cute vintage book though. But I also, when I was looking through this box, I found it was like stuff of my grandmother's. So I don't know if it was a gift. I don't think it was like reading about it. I was like, I don't think she would have read this. But anyway, my grandmother passed away a while ago, so can't ask her. But it's just a very strange book. But anyway, so I found another book that was my great grandmother's from the Edwardian era, and I didn't grab it here, but it's kind of falling apart, and it says The Rosary on it, and I was like, oh, interesting. My family's Irish Catholic. It's a book, must be a book about like the Rosary, but it's not. It's a best-selling Edwardian romance novel, and The Rosary is a song that the main character sings, but it's kind of billed as like a Jane Eyre type of story. So I don't really know that much about it, but if you look it up, like the history, it just says that it was like a bestseller for at least 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer, and it's just kind of been forgotten. But the copy I have that I found in my box of like family things, it's falling apart. But now that I have the Kindle, it's on Project Gutenberg, so I think I'm going to try to read it and see what I think. See if it measures up to the bestseller status of 100 years ago.
So, and who is the author?
Florence L. Barclay. So I have, and it's British, and I think it has something to do with. So I think it's Jane Eyre in the sense that the heroine is very plain, but she has this very beautiful voice, and she kind of falls for this guy who is maybe an aristocrat or something, who is looking for a beautiful wife, but he kind of like falls for her voice, and that's, I guess, I have like little impressions of it because I can't find a full summary of it anywhere. I think everyone's forgotten it, but if you look it up on Goodreads, there are lots of 4 and 5 star reviews. So I'm crossing my fingers. It's one of those that's actually like good and has been just forgotten for some reason. So
that would be so cool if you love it. How would you have ever found out about it if it wasn't an heirloom book?
I know. It's just weird how many things. I mean, who knows? Like, you want to go on Project Gutenberg and try things, but who knows what's even good? And I don't know. But we'll see. I shall report back and let everyone know.
Very cool.
What was the one you mentioned right before The Rosary? Sorry, Ed.
Oh, it's Fable by Adrian Young.
Thank you.
Thanks for writing it down.
Yeah.
Emma, your last 2.
Yeah, well, okay, real quick before I forget, when you're saying following up, I was thinking of suggesting, we'll have to see if we can schedule this, but I would love to do a live stream of like a summer reading wrap up around Labor Day. Like the 4 of us could reunite, do another live stream event, compare, see how many we got to, see if there were any things that snuck in that we didn't.
We need some emotional support after disappointing reads.
Yes.
And I am like not afraid to DNF anymore, so I feel like I'm scared that like by the time we get to the end, I'll be like, I read one of the books that I mentioned.
And that's okay, because then I think plenty of people who watch will be like, okay, I relate to that.
Yeah. Life's too short to keep reading a book you're not excited about.
There are too many good books. Yeah, to read.
One more sidetrack. Susie Rogers. Project Gutenberg is a magical land of public domain books. It's a website, and it's gutenberg.org. and you can read it online, or you can read it on Kindle, or you can send it to your different devices.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and especially because it's been formatted for ebooks.
Yeah.
If you're not reading it online. So yes, enjoy, be delighted. It's wonderful. Okay,
And I'm
sorry,
just
Emma.
gonna mention this. There's a tutorial on my channel in the shorts for how to download books, in case you're confused, because I discovered during the Project Gutenberg read-along that I did last year that a lot of people didn't actually know how to get the books to their Kindle, but it's really easy. You basically just have to email it to yourself. So if you need help, there's a video on my shorts about that.
That is
All right, I'm going to link that in the description
because
later.
they used to have it so that if you just search the Kindle store, you could find like a zero, a free version. But gradually, they're so sneaky. They've gotten rid of all the free versions. But yeah, like you say, all you have to do is go to Gutenberg and email it to yourself, and then you can use the free version.
Yes.
Once you know how to do it, you won't be able to stop, and then you'll have so many books to read.
Yes.
So I have last summer I read wasn't it last summer? At some point last year I read Riders of the Purple Sage by Zane Grey for the first time, and it felt like a very fun summery read. So when I found apparently there is a sequel, and the end, is this a spoiler? I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. Okay, I'll say it generally. After the end of Riders of the Purple Sage, I was very interested to see a sequel and see what how the storyline would pick up. And yeah, I just happened to find this in a bookshop, so I thought it'd be really fun. I love how it's got
Oh wow.
To read it in the summer, because I just love like westerns, and especially like I feel like they're so great for summer. Like all the action and the ambiance Zane Grey paints is so great. Like you feel like you're there in the canyon, getting lost and chasing the cattle thieves and all that kind of thing.
So cool.
And then my other last one is G.K. Chesterton. I bought this a while ago. I really enjoyed some of G.K. Chesterton's kind of lesser known, like The Poet and the Lunatics. Absolutely love that one. Also, the Notting Hill, Napoleon of Notting Hill is really good as well. And so when I saw this is another fiction that I'd never heard of. I was like, I wonder if it'll be kind of like Napoleon of Notting Hill and Poet and the Lunatics, where like there's definitely a good dose of like philosophy and theology, but also like a compelling story and interesting characters. So yeah, this one, I mean, it says on the front, a comic novel about murder, bigamy, burglary, insanity, and truth, beauty, and the goodness of life. So should be a fun one.
Very
Emma,
cool.
both of
Thank
those
you, Emma.
authors yes. I was just going to say, both of those authors would be great for your book club, Emma, in case you're wondering.
That's true. I should add that to the list.
She was asking the other day, and we were all like, I don't know, but those two, that sounds great.
I'll write them down. Speaking of book clubs, Kate, I was going to put Christy on my list, but then I realized that's September, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah, I'm
read along?
Yes. So that's the September Kindred Spirits book club pick. And it's my mission this year. Will feel like I've done something right in the world if I get Emma to read Christy.
I really want to read that one too. I'm hoping to join for that one. I'm hoping to join for a couple others too, but I really want to read that one because I've watched the TV series and I really like the TV series. So
yeah, and Morgan and I and Melissa read it a couple of years ago, and you just have deep chats when you read Christy. And also then 2 years before that, I read it with Megan Hannett, who isn't really active on BookTube anymore. Oh no, Rainey, this is my reminder. I will double check you're on the list. I actually got an email from Jenna from Chicky Bean Loves Books. For some reason, it's like she gets some of the emails. She'll see that like she's in the group, but she gets like people replying to the group emails. Melissa, I thoroughly approve of this goal. Oh, we have missed you. Yes, come back.
Yeah, I want to do the Rose Garden for June, although it does sound a little bit sad at first, but it sounds like it's going to be really interesting.
Although I will say in my memory of it, I don't feel sad when I think of it. So hopefully it's not overwhelmingly sad. Hopefully I haven't like shut it out.
No, I think it sounds like amazing. It's a time travel thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it
And
sounds
kind of time slip.
that's cool. Oh, that's
yes.
cool. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
I saw that it was about like someone dealing with someone's death, and that always makes me sad. But those books are good too.
Yeah. No. So there is a kind of an ache at the beginning.
But it sounds really good.
And yeah, Christy, you have to read it because of your name.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
This is so fun. My friend and I pick a fantasy series to buddy read every summer, and we're looking forward to that. We're leaning towards the King Raven series by Stephen R. Lawhead. I hope you have so much fun with it. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, Christy, what are your final two? And I know we all have more than 10 books we're hoping to read this summer, but the two that you're cheering tonight.
Okay. Let's see. So, oh my gosh, there's just so many. I'm hoping to read Crying in H Mart. I think that's what it's called. Have you guys seen that? Yeah, I really want to read that. Probably on audio as a buddy read with a friend.
Yes.
It sounds so good.
Oh, it does. And she's in a band, right? She's the lead singer in the band.
I honestly I don't know anything about it, but I'm just like, oh, H Mart. I love H Mart.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's Korean Breakfast is the name of the band. Yeah, and she was, or I could be getting the band name wrong, but she was interviewed by Conan O'Brien on his podcast, and she was really interesting to hear. So
I wonder if that's why everybody knows what it is, because I was wondering, it just was everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah, they said their band was at Coachella, and I think that got them like a lot more kind of press. Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
And let's see. So for read more nonfiction, because I'm in a super nonfiction mood, but it just seems like I always am picking up fiction like constantly because fiction is fun, but I need to fit in more nonfiction. So I'm kind of debating between trying Irenaeus's Against Heresies, but also The Rise of the West by William H. McNeill. So we'll see. One of those two I'm hoping to get to this summer.
Yes. Those are both, I mean, very worth your time. They are very iconic.
Have you read them?
No, but I've heard different, like, they're the kind of books that my brother would love.
So you have heard about them quite a bit then.
Yes. And some of my like biblical studies majors friends in college talked about Against Heresies.
That makes sense.
Which is such a great title.
I know.
Oh, Daryl is here. Hello, Daryl. Welcome. So thank you everyone for this whirlwind of book titles. So I like Emma's idea of giving some closure, around Labor Day. And because I have no idea what I'm going to think of these and which ones I'll actually end up getting to, because I have too many big classics on the list. So we will see. Thank you everyone for watching and joining in the chat. And we will let you know if we do a summer wrap up. I think that would be a great plan.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for hosting this, Kate. It was such a fun idea.
Thank you so much. It's such a blast.
Thank you for joining me. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.